At 7 o'clock, I would like to call this meeting of Public Works and Public Utilities to order. Attendance has been taken, I assume. If everybody would stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 on our agenda is comments from citizens, so anybody would like to make a comment, can certainly step up to the microphone, or if you'd like to wait, if there's something specific in the agenda, we generally allow interaction throughout our agenda anyway. I will close comments from citizens and move right on to public works. You have an activity report in your packet. Phil, anything you would like to highlight on that?
We've gotten, I think it's in here, we've got the streets paved. And most of the restriping's been done, and they've gotten started on those metals. No, it's a mess over there. It always gets worse before it gets better.
I can tell you everybody's excited about it that lives on it.
Everything they've done so far looks good.
I've had a lot of good comments.
Any other questions or comments about activity report for public works? Moving on to streets. We have a Randolph Road update and discussion. Heather, would you like to bring us up to speed on this?
In the September meeting, during the September meeting, I believe, you all received an updated list of the costs, the opinion of probable cost from ES&S. And that grand total, with the 10% contingency, was $760,883. Since then, we have had a design meeting with Zach Thomas, who's here with ES&S, and the foreman. And the foreman brought up several concerns about this project and about the cost of this project. And so we asked for maybe an alternative to going completely concrete curb and gutter all the way right this minute, with the intention of doing that in the future. So Zach worked up some more, another opinion of probable costs, and it is in your packet. That grand total with contingencies came out to $787,597, which is quite a bit more than the full curb and gutter street. So we wanted to discuss this project. I talked to Chris Fink today. I wanted to know, since I'm coming in kind of here in the design phase, not in the initial portion of this when we applied for the grant, what he was told in the beginning that we would do, what his expectations of us were. He brought me some grant paperwork that I looked through, and I did find our copies of. And the initial grant paperwork does show that we would curb and gutter, we do a concrete street with curb and gutter the whole way, and underground utilities. Which the underground utilities are not included in the cost of this project right now. It would have to be its own separate project, and we would need to discuss that. So I wasn't sure how many of you all were aware of those conditions, and I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of that. And just open it up for discussion. And Zach came with some information. Chris is here, foremen are here, so maybe we can just. It's more than what we had anticipated. So you all have a printout, and I scoured the budget because this money for this project comes out of several different funds. I plugged in the estimated expected revenues for the rest of FY19, the expected expenses for the rest of FY19, and we do have $200,000 in CDBG grant money if we complete the project. We also have $153,294 that is sitting in escrow, specifically earmarked for this project if we complete the road. So it has to be spent there, so we can use that on this as well. That would leave our transportation sales tax budget with a balance of $168,000 estimated at the end of the year. And the majority of these costs are probably gonna come out in FY20 instead of FY19. However, our Maze Meadow project is about $50,000 over budget. Unless I'm missing a line item, I've scoured that book from front to back, looking for a line item that has additional money for Maze Meadow.
Wasn't there?
I haven't found it.
So what do we have in the way of utilities out there, electric line?
It'd be an electric, and Jeff was not inclined to want to underground it because it is his biggest transmission line. What was your concerns about?
Mostly money, I mean, that's all summer project.
I mean, it would be us doing it.
It
but-
would be us too.
But it would be a big project.
I mean,
Is that the main feeder line coming in for the city?
no, that goes out to Rolling Road and down to
Okay.
Showing Shoreline and the timber frames. That's all it feeds right now.
Okay.
Well, I know, just speaking for myself, that being on the front end of the discussion at City Hall, when we were talking about this project, I was never under the assumption that we had decided what, I mean, honestly, I've never saw the grant paperwork. Maybe that's my fault, I don't know, but, you know, when Dick Ward was sitting in this seat, him and I both had the discussion that we just didn't see this road being the nicest road we had in town, and was talking about having a hard time defending that position to our constituents. I can see where the previous administrator clearly wrote it in the grant.
Well, and he also told us that we wouldn't have to pay it, we could rock it.
That's true.
He told us that.
When we left the discussion, I was under the impression we were gonna do the hard surface road up to Remington, and then it would be gravel the rest of the way.
I thought we were gonna curb gutter both sides of it.
Yeah.
Hard pave so far up and then gravel from there on
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
That's what I understood.
yeah, that's how I understood it too.
That, the last notes I found about this project, and in a memo from Matt, did say that, said that that was the board's direction. That the grant paperwork was not filled out that way.
So if we don't do it by that, then we won't get the grant money.
Well,
Correct.
no, not necessarily, I mean, we can still get the grant money, but that comes to Mr. Fink, because he's the reason we're getting the grant money. Because he created more jobs now, and he's indicated that he does not want the gravel, does not prefer it. And that's not what he was promised.
So where, I mean, it's gotta just be a discussion, where are we at? I mean, is there any, do we have any compromise here, or is it a go or no? I mean, you tell me.
I'm just here to listen. As
I
far as
really-
I'm.
We want
as-
your input, though. I mean,
I understand that, I understand you do, and that's not unreasonable that you want my input. I was asked to attend this meeting, and what do you think, and all the rest of that, and what was your understanding? Well, naturally, when you're asked those kind of questions, you go back, because we're all busy, you know, and you live your lives, you got the course of the day, so you have to think what you're told, and this, that, and next thing. So I went to the emails, like I normally do in things like this, and say, okay, let's see if we can find out whether it was written down. Is my recollection faulty, or is my recollection of what I was told correct? As you guys can see in the paperwork you got in front of you, what I was told is what was written in the grant, and I didn't write that grant.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always under the assumption this was curb, gutter, street, concrete all the way. I mean, that was the original promise that was made.
Well, I thought that was up for discussion.
That was a discuss, we had
And then
that
we
discussion.
figured out that we couldn't afford to pave it all, but we could curb and gutter it all. And then we would do so much of it, and then we would come back and do so much of it, is the way I took it.
Yeah.
I was never under the influence, we were paving the whole road.
I don't think we ever came to an agreement.
I don't think we did.
In fact, I know we
No.
didn't.
I don't remember having an agreement. I know it was discussed, and it was discussed, and then it wasn't discussed, and I think, the previous administrator may have went and moved forward based on our discussion.
It was in process by the time I got on here, so.
Because I was worried about the $760,000, how we were gonna come up with that anyways,
Yeah,
from the get-go.
yeah.
Yeah, but draining this fund and this fund and this fund.
Yeah.
And the grant, is that like a 50-50 thing?
I mean, there's a portion of it that we have to cover, and then they've granted us 200,000. Yeah, that'd be a reimbursement. So that's included all in the spreadsheet that you guys have, the worksheet that I came up with. We had $398,166 already in our transportation sales tax fund budget that just rolls over from year to year. We've built up that much money. And then we receive deposits every month for, it's a half-cent sales tax. We've paid some out already to Christensen for the overlay for Allen Street and Sunrise. We have another estimated about 35,000 left for that project. There's an estimated revenue from county grant, so road and bridge grant, 79,000. We have not received that yet. This CDBG grant would be 200,000, and then we also have $153,294 in that contingency fund for this project specifically.
So when was it going to be built? What was the intent? Was it gonna be done this year yet? or-
It'll be next, the majority of the cost will be next fiscal year. So we will have more money built up in that account in the next fiscal year. We have 168, based on this, if we paid everything out this year, we would still end up with $168,687 in that account.
Well, not just discussing the road itself, it has nothing to do with the power.
Oh, right, that's it, it's a separate project. There's
Yeah,
no
we're
way
gonna
that we
do
would be able
that
to tackle that this year.
separately. Yeah.
That wasn't budgeted.
Where are the power poles? Are they gonna have to be moved?
No.
No?
There is one along Highway 20.
Right along Highway 22.
Yeah,
And that would have to be moved regardless, like whenever we do the road, regardless if we underground it or not.
Well, I'm sorry, I've got a question. There's no power poles up there on the end by the truss company that have to be moved to make that corner? Because you know, there's
They
truckers,
were,
big trucks if you're gonna bring trucks in and out of there, there's a pretty good swing you gotta make through there.
They were
And I don't know
making
that you can make it with them
exceptions for
poles
that.
where they're at.
as of right now, there's none that have to be removed strictly from a pavement perspective. Now, they will be close to the proposed edge of pavement, but there is clearance. Now, those are Boone Electric and Ameren poles. So we'll have to see if they have issues with their clearance from the edge of pavement or anything. But as of right now, just from purely being outside the pavement, they don't have to be.
Sure.
But we haven't fully coordinated the plans with the electric companies yet.
But they're Ameren and Boone Electric poles?
There's actually city, Boone Electric, and Ameren poles up there at the Roland Road intersection, all three of them.
It's a trifecta of wire.
Is the cost of moving them included within this? Because they're gonna charge us.
No, there's no cost, because as of right now, they don't have to be moved.
Okay.
So the hope is that they're okay.
Unless they decide that they have to be moved, and then they're gonna bill us for it regardless.
It all depends too, if they're within existing right-of-way, do they have to pay the city for that? A lot of times utilities, if they're in right-of-way, they're not in their own easement, it's on their dime a lot of times to move this stuff. Now, there is some of them is an easement up there, some of them isn't, so it'll, have to be looked at a case-by-case basis, but we'll coordinate all that with them.
Well, there isn't any right of way dedicated up there at this point, so I would guess there is an easement.
There is for, Roland Road heading
Road,
east,
but
yeah.
Not for Randolph Road.
Yeah, no, there's not, no, not up there.
Speaking of easements, have we got the easement from the other property owner,
Stewart.
Stewart? Yeah.
No. That was another concern of Sydney's, is if we didn't have permission for the easement, you know, to get those easements, and that he was going to give them to us, she was not comfortable moving forward with that either.
Right.
So we don't have a report on where we are with that.
They were writing the.
Yes, we're currently finishing them up, and,
But has the property owner agreed to sign them?
I don't know where the negotiations are. We'll
See,
get
that-
you the
that-
final easements by the end of this week.
That's where we messed up from the get-go. We should have got the easement before we even started this project.
Yeah,
Well, can't say that I didn't know that.
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a waste of money, spend money if we don't have easement up there to get that road built.
Do you think there's a chance he won't give us an easement?
Sure, there's a chance.
Oh,
Didn't
I
have
don't
to.
know. I don't
Well,
know.
there's a chance that he will too.
I mean, I guess,
We discussed
Yeah.
this specifically as a group
Yeah.
in the meeting, and it was determined we had to spend the initial money for the plan development to get the easement documents written. That's why we went forward.
And he did say that he wanted to know
Wasn't mine,
specifically what they were
agreed to do
going
that.
to be before he.
As a board, we
Right.
voted on it, whether you voted for it or not, we could go back and check the records if we really have
I
to,
can
but,
tell you where I voted.
okay. But as a board, we passed it. Okay, so that's a decision we made as a board.
What I'm saying is, before you were even on, the project started, we should have got the easements before then.
Yeah, Matt had talked to me about this, and he was concerned about the cost of it at one point. And I told him, I said, why don't you consider building half a road all the way through there? Graveling the other part of it until a later date when we've got more money. Apparently, he didn't decide that wouldn't be necessary. I don't know where he came up with his ideas about cost, but
all right, so where do we stand?
One question. You said we have $160 odd thousand left if we paid all of it? How much balance do we normally have at the end of the year in this fund?
Well, we have 398,000 this year, but that's not, I mean, that's not necessarily normal. I think we've been putting off other projects to build money up into this fund. Putting off doing other road improvements. Now, I say 168,000, but if you look underneath that, we are 49,642 right now over on Mays Meadow. So we're really looking at more like 106,000.
And that's if nothing else goes wrong.
Now, I do have a question. There is a built-in contingency in this. So if we did have to use any of those poles, move any of those poles, would we use this money for that?
Yes, that's part of the reason why we're still in the preliminary design stage, so that's why we still have the contingency that we do. I mean, we'll lower it down to 5% for the final one, just because there's always the possibility of unknowns, even unknown utilities too. Is always a possibility too, but yeah, so we're still, I think we're at 8%, just because we're still in that kind of preliminary stage.
Okay.
What would it take to go back and find out what this, was before my time, before Don's time, we weren't on years, before you were city administrator? How do we go back and figure out what this group finally decided on, regardless of what was submitted for the grant? 'Cause I mean, that's what we, I say we, even though I wasn't sitting in this chair at the time, that's what we as a group said we were gonna do. We need to go back and figure out what we said we were gonna do as Alderman, regardless of what the previous city administrator wrote down and submitted as a grant, and that's our starting point.
no. Where the grant is your starting point, because the grant is written for a specific cost. You don't get the grant if you don't meet those.
Correct, but if the previous city administrator wrote a grant that this board did not agree to, we need to take a step back and look at that again.
It's all in here. That one page I passed around goes right back in there, so. And then there's just a lot of information, this is included with it, just a lot of documents that go in here, so it's. This was the needs assessment that was signed, but it doesn't, it's just one page, and you're welcome to look through this file.
I mean, for the life of me, though, I don't understand why the grant was written so the utilities had to be underground. That just makes no sense.
I don't ever remember discussing this.
I don't either.
That's why I suggest we go back to what I said as the board and what we agreed.
I can research that and have you some information next Monday night, we can just table the discussion.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, the point is if you don't, if you change the terms of that grant, you lost the grant. There's $200,000 hole there.
Don, I understand that, but are we trying to decide if we're gonna adhere to a grant that this board did not agree to begin with? Because the comments I've heard from several people who were on the board, you and I were not at the time, they were on the board at the time, have said that they don't remember agreeing to that. So I think we need to figure out where we were.
Review the minutes from previous meetings.
Yeah, we need to understand what was agreed to by the board at the time, and is the grant in alignment with that? If it is, then we, maybe a different course of action than if the grant was written in a way that disagreed to what everybody agreed to. To me, that's a starting point, and then we decide what we do from there.
This is exactly what we did before. We talked just like this, and then we let it go. And we were kinda hanging. That's, nobody really,
Well, I
We
can
really never
remember
said yes
asking
or-
Matt specifically though, does this, in order to get the grant, does it have to be concrete or hard surface? And he said, no, it could be,
That's
it could
exactly
be
what I
gravel.
said.
And I believe the grant administrator says the same thing, I'm waiting on his final response.
that's what we gotta find out.
We never took a vote on what the surface was gonna be.
We didn't.
We never did. There was discussion, but it was never decided. Because I would have voted no against concrete.
all the way. Right.
We never voted on it.
Because we talked about concrete, asphalt, and rock.
Yep.
That's what we talked about.
We agreed we wanted to go hard surface to the intersection of Remington and there farther north. And my purpose for wanting to do it that way is let the base get rolled down. There's so many concrete roads around here that crack up in 3 years.
And we didn't we decide to go ahead and curb and gutter all the way down through both sides? And then layering the rock in between the curb and gutter?
We
I
I
do
know
not
we
recall that,
discussed
but
it,
I'm not
I
saying
don't
we
know
did.
if it was
Shouldn't
the
have been an
previous
idea.
one, but I know we talked about it.
ask maybe a stupid question. That I'm looking at the third thing on the concrete cost is,
What, 1301,
is it like heavy duty
concrete?
Heavy duty concrete, it's like 3,055 square yards, am I reading this right? On cost?
That's 6120.
Yeah, what that is, did you guys get this page on the back too?
I'm getting it. I guess the cost of that, something I'm,
Oh, yes, that includes heavy duty concrete, and that includes a gravel base below it. And it's the Boone County, for a collector road is what this is based on. I think it's 7 or 8 inches of concrete over like 4 inches of rock.
That's $61 a yard, is that right?
Yeah,
you can get it for $61 a yard?
that's installed cost. Hopefully it's less than that during the bid, but this is kind of general average we've seen.
I assume that's a square yard.
That's just a square yard.
It's possible, Donnie, I'm pouring a lot of concrete right now.
What's that? What's that?
I say it's possible, I'm pouring a lot of concrete right now.
So Chris, Matt never said nothing to you about gravel or nothing like that at all?
No, I told Heather, I said in the very beginning it was mentioned, but as we were going through, I expressed my concern about the gravel side of it. I said it'd be my preference to see it paved straight all the way through. And when I signed the paperwork, before I signed the paperwork, and I think this Form Z, I've got an email from Matt dated Saturday, February the 3rd, that he sent me, that has got this in here indicating that it's gonna be a paved road all the way through. So that was back in February of this year. I went ahead and signed the paperwork for the grant, creating the jobs and all that, with the understanding, you guys can see it in there, that it's gonna be a paved road all the way out, and your power lines are gonna be buried. So you can understand my disappointment when you said you didn't think you were gonna do that. So I've been sitting here the whole time, ever since I've been told that, just sitting, watching and see what's gonna happen.
So basically, Matt made that decision. by
Because
himself.
I signed some fairly lengthy paperwork, and if you guys read it, it's got some pretty good sized clause in it,
Yeah.
so that this could happen, so, you know.
No, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But you have to understand where we are, and this is all new to us, we didn't realize he had done that. And maybe that's the reason he's not here anymore.
Well, Chris, to start out with, the first 2 or 3 years, a good gravel road would be better than no road, wouldn't it?
I'm just here to listen, Donnie, I ain't here to negotiate anything.
A good straight gravel road, a good straight wide gravel road. With curb and gutter.
But I will tell you, the promise going back when this road was the first recommended was that this would be a paved concrete road.
Yeah.
That was when Chris brought the property. That's what the agreement was.
What, a long time. We're talking a long time ago, right?
That's long. Back in 2004,
Yeah, but actually, I think I bought it in 6.
now whenever it was.
Yeah, back when that was done, it was gonna be a paved curb and gutter street, there was no question about it back then. When I bought it, that's when, I mean, you asked Lynn. But it was just a question on when it was gonna happen.
Right. There's no promises to when.
No promise when it was gonna
But it was
happen.
going to be a concrete paved road all the way through.
You're right.
We could still do that in a matter of time.
So we agree we're gonna table this, we're gonna look up what this board has agreed to,
Yes.
and then we'll look at it next week.
Yep.
Let's move on then. Sanitation, anything under sanitation?
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you,
I
gentlemen.
guess I'll hear from you all sometime.
Stormwater, we have an Age Meadow update.
They've got curb on the east and west side, one side of each, and it's the east side on both streets. They got the inlet boxes in today, they put one in, I believe. They got one in, they've started out of it, getting prepared for that. I think there's 4 inlet boxes total, at that end and one down at the other end.
I stopped by the other day.
Sounds right.
As they were putting it in there.
3 at Meadowlark.
On that corner, and then 2 at Stoney's, and then one down
There's
there.
3 over there. They're gonna tear that one out and put in a new one.
Right, but it's
Yeah,
the same amount.
then they'll have, then one up the other one.
Donaldson Excavating is doing everything they can to help us out. I mean, there's been a couple busts on some of the engineering. And he's working to try to get things fixed right and helping us out on the cost of it and stuff to make it work too, so.
What's the engineer doing to help?
They missed some stuff that didn't match up.
I said, what's he doing to help?
He has made adjustments still allowed for that, and then he's also doing an extra to kind of get around some of that, to make it still have flow, so. Plans were a little bit.
Is it all there is to say about it right now?
Yeah, the rain's gonna slow things down a little bit, it's pretty muddy everywhere right now, so they're trying to do what they can, the inlet boxes, get those and pipe between if possible. They're being pretty conscientious about traffic coming in and out, making sure there's avenues there, and they've been good to work with right now.
Any other for Public Works?
On Sunset, when we paved that, I think that was the first time it had been paved by the city. I've had a.
Sunrise Circle?
Sunrise Circle?
Yes.
Yes, Sunrise Circle. Someone approached me thinking that that was a private street, and I was sure that it's not a private street. It may have been initially a private road, but the city has taken possession of it. There is still a private drive from Sunrise Circle to the Lakeview, which is still a private drive, and the city did not pay that for it. So, that's all I have.
So you're saying that was never paved by the city?
That's the first time it's been paved since I've been around.
Lynn did,
Yeah.
that same thing.
Yeah, and Lynn had told me in the past that was our street.
Yeah.
It had been discussed, some people always thought it was a private road, and it may have been when it was first built for a while, but it's,
Well,
well, all my understanding is it was our street to maintain. We have always maintained it.
yeah, plowed it.
Yeah.
did whatever to it.
Patched it, plowed it, took care of it.
Yeah. I just wanted to make that clear to everybody.
Moving on to water and sewer. There's an activity report. Matt, anything you'd like to highlight on that?
We got the motor scraper on the secondary, working again, back to normal. Turner is going to help us out a bunch with that, and got it back to us quickly. So the water plant is up and running, like it should be for now. Jeff and his guys helped us out and got all the new skid loader building wired up, so we are ready to go in it. Got the skid loader in there, to start moving more equipment over there. Trying to think anything other big stuff. We got the backhoe in, and it has been, we've been impressed with it. We've dug across some roads for Phil to fix. It worked well, so we're impressed with the performance of it.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Matt?
You said you met with Fletcher Reinhardt about the AMI systems? How did that meeting go?
Good. They had a pretty good setup and informed us for what we were looking for. We all kind of talked in a meeting, and we're looking at the other options also to see how they kind of match up with them, see what the best option for us going forward is going to be.
Okay.
We've got a meeting Thursday with Annixter for the Tantalus system. It'd be basically the same presentation, just to hear Heather wasn't in on that, Matt was here when that happened, so we kind of like get a good catch on that, make sure we're getting all the points on both systems, see which one will work best.
Each company also has some references, local references, and we've talked to a couple of places, and if we like the systems or think that we want to see a little bit more, maybe how they actually work, we're gonna take a trip to possibly Moberly or Palmyra,
Okay.
see what they look like.
We ready to move on? Anything underwater?
Other than there's a bunch of boring going on in town, so we have been finding lines that we haven't seen before. It's been informative.
Is it a locate problem?
Some, kind of, I mean, some of it we don't know where it is. I've never seen it.
Some
Mike
of
can
it,
get out, yeah.
I've never seen some of it, and over behind Gale Buoys at the south end of the football field, the line has to make a complete 90 behind Donald Buck's house. That's the only way you can get there. You don't know that unless you see it or have some drawings on it. We don't have anything showing, everything shows a straight line. So, they got one today, not so much their fault, it's a little bit of both, but if you don't know, you don't know. Transite can't locate other than Wichita. So, he was picking something up and there's no gas line too, so he could have been picking it up, so. One of those things we fixed and got it going again, and he did a good job on that, so.
I guess you can update your map, though, can't
Well, we really haven't seen the 90s, but we know what else to do it.
Still don't know where it is.
We're assuming,
There's
you
still
know where
more,
that
they
gets
may
you.
find it yet, so.
Okay.
Are these private, or service lines, or are these not the main line? Is it-
Today
No,
was the
it
main
was
line.
6-inch.
Oh,
Transite.
6 inch, okay.
The ones at Remington where it was a service line.
Anything for sewer?
Yep, we've had some trouble, starting last Tuesday really, the pump one at Methodist Church lift station, went out on us. Just by luck, we went by, we try to check that thing once a week just to make sure everything's running. When we got there, the breaker was off, so we turned it on to see what was happening, and it sounded about as bad as you can imagine a pump that's burnt up sound. So we sent it off to Mexico. We got a hold of them today, and they informed us that it was completely trashed. Have no numbers on it yet. We still yet to get back with me on that, so still waiting to hear what that's gonna be.
So do we have a backup one in there right now?
Yeah, we have a secondary pump back in there, and
Okay.
it's keeping up for now, but we need to get the other one back in there just in case, so. As far as we can see, there was a float that looks like it may have had a short in it or something that may have stuck open and burnt it up, as far as we can see, so.
This isn't-
Working on that.
This isn't one that had a bunch of the trash in it.
No, although you can inform whoever you want not to put any more grease down their drains if you want to, I would appreciate it.
We do actually have a picture of that.
It
I'm
is,
going to post it on Facebook page because it's terrible.
Oh, wow.
I don't think people really quite understand what they're doing until they see it.
He said, he was supposed to be back with us this afternoon on some pricing. We did not hear from him, so I would say maybe in the morning we'll have some information on that. Get that going.
What size is it? What size pump?
It's a 6-inch pump, well, it's a
4-inch
4-inch pump that hooks into a 6-inch force main.
And how many horses?
So 15, something like that.
It was around, I'm not sure.
I think that's what it is.
But the electric motors burn up or the pump?
Electric motor
Motor.
burn, and it's site specific almost. They're gonna have to go back to the manufacturer and see if they can come up with anything.
Anything else for sewer? Other, you have a trailer for a skid loader.
I wish I had a price for a trailer, a good price that I could count on. Been trying to find trailers, and it must be a hot time of year for those, because I cannot find a trailer that'll last until we get to a council meeting without it getting sold. I'm just needing an equipment trailer. We'd like to get a 22-foot. When we get the skid loader on there, plus the brush hog, in order to keep all the weight off the tail end of that thing, we need to get that length. I found several, but I can't get a price to stay long enough, or a trailer stay there long enough to do it. So what I'd like to ask is, I've got prices from $4,600 to $6,000. If I can get a trailer for under $6,000, if I can get your approval, go ahead and get it. This will be for the skid loader. We put the mini track on there and even the trencher if needed. Jeff has a trencher trailer. It's not really long enough to use for the skid loader and the brush hog. You can get it, but it's just barely, it doesn't drive very good.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid we're gonna have a safety issue. It's not as heavy.
Well, I'm not opposed to it, what do you guys think?
The So then we need a motion
I-
for it.
I found two that were $4,600, so I don't think it's gonna be anywhere near six.
So
I've got one heavy duty one for 6+.
I move that we allow you to purchase a trailer not to exceed $6,000 to the specs you've laid out.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to purchase a trailer for $6,000 or less. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There you go.
All right, appreciate that.
Is that all for water and sewer department? Moving on to the electric department. Activity report. Jeff, anything you'd like to highlight on that?
No, I mean, I got that pole line in out there along the nose from South Columbia to Lois Drive. It's there, I haven't got it energized yet. I really no reason to energize it until we get some transformers set and some loops built.
We started on the electric on that south and north lines, south lines, got all the light work, Mark, so.
Right, I
So
saw
start
that.
out there in the morning, you can.
Yeah.
After it rains again tonight.
Jeff's been
And most
cutting,
of that and cutting trees.
Yeah. they've been doing a good job with the trees, because some of these trees have been absolutely huge that they're cutting, and most of them have showed warranty that they need to be cut, so doing a good job with that.
Anybody else have a question or comment for Jeff? No?
I will point out that Don Brake got the tree bid for the west side of town over there, called today, and he's getting pretty close to being ready to start over there, which I know Jeff's ready for that, because last windstorm, we had a couple issues over there with our own trees that power outage because of some things, so hopefully he'll get in here pretty quick and we can get going on that.
And that's the next big windstorm that's projected for.
Moving on, generation and purchase, anything for generation and purchase?
I did receive an email from Bob Harbor, and there's a possibility that NextEra would like to look at extending their contract, entering into a contract, to 2030. And he wanted to know if anybody was interested in that. So far, I haven't seen any of the other responses come back that they are interested in doing that. So,
Favorable, I'd say most people would be.
so, I don't know any of the terms of it just yet. I wouldn't know anything until the majority agreed that they wanted to look at it. But I'll keep you updated.
Anything for distribution? Other, you got a wire bid in your packet?
Border States looks like the best price.
Is this for next week? Or do you want a motion now, or is this a next week thing?
I'm not in a hurry.
We can bring it back next week then, for the official motion. We may have to bring our trailer back with the official cost of it.
Yep.
All right. Is it all for electric department? Other. Report from our Public Works and Public Utilities Director. Mike, anything you want to highlight on
Other than checking the projects that are going, Maze Meadows, trying to keep up with Jeff and his tree trimming, because they're on the move with that. That's pretty much what we've been working on. We got a couple things, had some stuff at DNR that we need to get finished up to keep the reports going. Matt's getting the EDMR, the electronic discharge monitoring reports. Him and Jay are getting that figured out. It's gonna make things a little smoother, I think, I hope, in the water plant as far as reporting. Phil's got the pain just about knocked out, so we're getting some things done here before the weather gets bad. salt's ordered for the winter. And you got your calcium
Got the
chloride.
calcium already.
Okay, so we're good.
Thanks for that. It's not on there, but we take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?